Hello everyone and welcome back. In this series of videos we are going to delve deeper into the role of a marksman in the Summoner's Rift. We'll learn about the meta and who you might want to play to increase your rank before the season ends. We'll also take a look at the laning phase, positioning, and of course the item builds. Now let's talk about what positioning really stands for. Positioning is the way you move your champion around the map. And the most effective way to do that is to stay at the longest possible distance away from your target, while still being able to deal damage. This principle is the basic mechanic of playing any marksman champion. But how do you learn how to do that effectively? It's really not the kind of skill you can learn through theory. It will take you a lot of attention and mechanical skill to master. That is, it will take you a lot of matches. But there are still several tips and tricks you can use. The proper team positioning during a teamfight should look like a pyramid, or a trapezium, which should stick together and move around the map as a single combat unit, where the front part consists of highly durable champions creating space for their carries and breaking the enemy formations, while the back should consist of carry champions, mostly marksmen and mages, who should use the space their tanks create and deal the most amount of damage possible. There is a pretty basic teamfight pyramid you can use. Note that the pyramid can change with the team setups. Its form depends on a couple of criteria: the amount of damage the frontline can potentially soak up, the range at which the carry champions can deal their damage, and the current situation and the balance of resources on your team. Here is one example. The pyramid can be built around a very strong hyper carry, who can move at the front of the entire pyramid and deal damage to the closest targets available, while the backline will consist of the support champions, who will protect and save them from the incoming damage and crowd control sources. All in all, the position of a marksman should follow one basic principle, with a ton of small nuances you'll have to learn and practice. You need to deal damage to the closest target available, and stay as far from the danger as possible, which most of the time will mean that you will be hitting the enemy frontline. But there are exceptions to that. Champions like Kai'Sa and Ezreal can jump straight into the heat of battle and break their pyramid to annihilate one of the squishy enemies. But that kind of action is a lot more difficult to pull off, and will take you a lot of calculations to be worth it. Right now, in patch 8.19, there are two basic item builds you can use, one of which utilizes Stormrazor, while the other uses Blade of the Ruined King and/or Guinsoo's Rageblade. In other words, we can put the marksmen in two different categories: on-hit effect users and critical strikers. So let's take a look at the basic item builds for each of these types. This is how Tristana or any other critical strike chance-based marksman usually goes with their item build. It's worth noting that with this kind of build, the major and the most effective power spike happens when the three first items after the boots are built, those being Stormrazor, Rapid Fire Cannon and Infinity Edge. This power spike provides the marksman with a lot of critical damage, part of which is dealt as the true damage, and an increased range of the first shot. A marksman with this kind of item build can act like a very strong hyper carry, and can try to build their entire team's gameplay around themselves. Varus and other on-hit marksmen build something like this. With this build, your power spike will happen after you build the first two of the core items. With Blade of the Ruined King and Guinsoo's Rageblade, Varus can quickly dismantle the enemy frontline, melting the enemy tanks. And once Infinity Edge is complete, he'll be unmatched, even by the basic critical strike chance marksman. Other champions might deviate in their item builds though. For example, Kai'Sa would really want to buy Stormrazor before she starts doing Guinsoo's Rageblade, just so she can upgrade her Q, but again, that kind of change is heavily dependent on the kind of champion you are playing. Now, we'd also want to know that the best defensive items for this patch are Mercurial Scimitar and Guardian Angel, as well as the Stopwatch, which can really save your life in case of emergency, while Bloodthirster has become a lot less useful due to its increased cost. So guys, that's it for now, and we really hope that you learned something from this video. As always, thank you so much for watching, and of course good luck in your solo queue.